Good morning. How are we?
Good. You'd be a Queenslander this week, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, last night, sensational, and Wednesday night. The boys were just amazing. I know New South Wales only had 12 men and boo-hoo, but, it was a good win for both the men's and the women's team. So, yeah.
Also I'll say something controversial here, Kevy. I reckon, if anything, losing a player galvanised New South Wales. I felt in the lead-up, I know it was only 8 minutes in, but I had a feeling we were going to put on a pretty dominant performance. I'm kind of disappointed that it's become 12 people, we almost won. And by the way, it was 38-10, so he didn't almost win at all.
No.
So I went down, Kevy, so I'm a bit dirty at New South Wales people.
Yeah, well, that's fine, Lutz. You can stay that way too, mate, because we've got to, win this series, win both series now. Obviously, the men's team head to Melbourne in a couple of weeks' time for their rematch with the Blues, and then the women head up to Townsville in a couple of weeks as well. So very exciting if you're a Queensland supporter.
What do you make of the controversy? I want to talk about Reece in a second, how he's pulled up, but whether or not it was a send-off. I can't believe people are saying that it wasn't a send-off. In NRL, that's a send-off any day of the week. It would have been...
It's not even a
conversation. It would have been so unfair if he had sent him to the bin for 10 minutes. Reece can't come back.
No,
we're down
Bronx miss him.
We're down our superstar. Yeah, and then our club team is going to be missing him for a couple of weeks too. But you didn't have a problem with the send-off, or where do you stand on that?
No problem at all. No. Yeah, no problem at all with the send-off. It was a definite send-off, and there's been some mixed commentary around it all, but when we see that incident on the field, you don't want that happening. That's going to stop. I know it's tough game, rugby league and physical and all that, but that's next level. And Suwali, I feel a bit sorry for him because he's been caught up in it all, and I don't even know him personally, but I don't know too many players that go out and try and do what he did. So it's just what happens in the game. So when it does happen, it needs to be policed correctly, and I believe it was.
How quickly do you speak to Reece after the game?
Well, I sort of texted him after the game, but I spoke to him yesterday, and he's still got a bit of a headache, but obviously he's a lot better than what we thought he'd be, given the what happened on the field and stuff. So yeah, he's fine.
I was looking at some of the media reports pertaining to the fact that he did that HIA assessment and he was actually cleared, in inverted commas, to play. It's probably worth noting he was never going to come back. They do that HIA assessment just to sort of see everyone is affected by being knocked unconscious in different ways. And luckily for Reece, it seems like he wasn't that badly affected in the moment in terms of his balance and that type of thing. But he was never going to come back onto the footy field the second that he was knocked unconscious.
Okay.
No, yeah. So just to be clear, every player in the NRL does a test at the start of the year around their brain and their reaction times and colours and numbers, and then they repeat that test in a smaller version when someone does get concussed. So, and they compare the numbers as such. So, if his numbers were pretty good and he's getting a lot of questions right, well, that means he's passed the test. But if he's getting a lot wrong and his memory's not there, well, that means he fails. And sometimes you can get a bit delayed as well. So, Reece is obviously not playing this weekend, or I wouldn't imagine, or the weekend after. He's got to have a standard 11 days off. So I'm fine with that. Reece will be the one that needs convincing that he doesn't need to play next week. So
it does kind of annoy me a bit, to be honest. People say, he didn't mean it, and he's a really nice guy. Like, it's also a who gives a shit for me in that, saying, well, he still did it. He still got airborne and attacked the head, and he did, and he. It was brutal. That really annoys me. He comes out and goes, I didn't mean it, and I'm a nice guy, and okay, well, that's all right then. I think that's how our courts work as well. When you murder someone, he was a nice guy though, so he's all right. What are we talking about here? It was brutal. Let's call it what it is.
In support of you, Lutsy, what it does do is robs people of the opportunity to watch Reece Walsh.
Exactly.
Play Queensland.
Yeah, it's the biggest draw card in our game at the moment.
Yeah, and he's been sitting on the sidelines. He'll sit on the sidelines again now for a few weeks, and then already earlier in the year. So we've got to start protecting our players. Yeah. And Reece is as tough as they come from Narang, mate. You wouldn't get a tougher kid. No. So it's not about being tough and brave. It's about protecting our players so they can actually go out and play the game how they should be able to play.
Our superstars.
With a free spirit.
He is so tough, isn't he, Reece? It's not the first time we've seen him absolutely belted, and he just keeps bouncing back. He's got that sort of bring it on attitude.
Yeah, and that's from his upbringing, obviously. And he's very strong mentally as well. He's he's a good kid, so we want to see him playing football, not sitting on the sideline.
So who's filling in for him? Well,
Tristan Saylor's made a miracle recovery from his rope surgery that he had on his ankle. He's trained with us this morning. He trained on Wednesday afternoon with us and got through the session all right. So he's a handy guy, very handy guy to come back in for us and at this stage of the season. The other boys will check this morning that played Origin. I expect them to be all okay, but again, we'll just check this morning when we have our final run to make sure that they're right to go, tomorrow night.
Just a question on the girls' team, because your daughter plays rugby league. Does she envisage herself playing for the Queensland team at some stage in the State of Origin?
Yes, of course she does, Suze. We all watched the game last night. Nave was front and centre watching the telly, so she'd love to represent Queensland one day, that's for sure.
And do you give her tips as well, or your son tips? Or do you, you coach him now, but when they're that age, like that school age, do you tell her, look at this, look at that, see what they're doing?
No, not really, Suze. All I want them to do is just enjoy playing sport and rugby, particularly rugby league or any sport. I think that gets taken away a lot with a lot of information about, technique and all these things. I think the best thing is to go out and enjoy playing rugby league and learn as you go. Sure, give us some tips along the way, but she's got to, go out and have some fun and enjoy, playing rugby league. And she's loving it every minute of it. So hopefully one day she can get to that stage where she's playing at the highest level.
Well, the Reece Walsh episode aside, it's been a great week so far for Queensland. Couple of wins in the Origin Arena, capping it off with a win against the Sharks for the Broncos would be the best way to do it. On Saturday night, it's a 7:30 kickoff.
Family pass
at Suncorp Stadium. Yeah, 13-24-10. Family pass if you want to go and watch the Broncos up against the Sharkies 5v2 on the ladder. Good luck, Kevin. Go get them, mate.
Go the Broncos.
Let's go, Broncos.
Come on, Kevin.
Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill on Nova 106.9.